All right, ladies and gentlemen. So then I would want us to go straight away to April 2025, question number 4C. Once you get that paper, are you able to say yes there so that I can get started? I can't start before you guys say yes. I can't start before you guys say yes. I can't start before you guys say. Have you gotten it? All right. Thank you so much. So everybody now is okay. I suppose Wairimu is also okay. So we start by reading the question. Yeah. So it's question number 4C. Matrix Motors Limited is a leading producer of high quality executive motor cars. The company is developing a new model branded 𝐲𝐨𝐿𝐲 that is expected to be very advanced. Wairimu, have you gotten it? Not yet. You haven't gotten the question. Advanced MA. Yeah. Then it's April 2025. Question number 4, cow. Question number 4, cow. You're okay. Thank you. So we are given some additional information. Note number 1, we are told Matrix Motors Limited expects the manufacture of the first car to take 72 hours. So what is this 72 to us? The time taken to make the very first unit. The time taken to make the very first unit, that is our aim. The gentlemen, remember, our prediction learning curve is y equals ax raised to power b plus 1. This is our predictive learning curve equation. Write it down. Anytime they want us to do predictions in learning curves, we shall always be, in this case here, using this model where A is time taken to produce first unit. It could also be the labor cost in a card, yeah, to produce first unit, to produce the first unit. Labor cost in a card to produce the first unit. In this particular case, they have told us it is 72 hours. They've told us it is 72 hours. E. That's what they have told us. Then we continue reading. What else are they telling us, ladies and gentlemen, here? What else they're telling us here? What else they're telling us here, ladies and gentlemen? What else they're telling us here, ladies and gentlemen? They're telling us that it is anticipated there will be a 90% learning curve that will continue until all 110 cars have been produced. So here they have given me the learning rate. So once they give me the learning rate, I should be able to give them the learning index. So come here and they give us the learning index. Give us what we call the learning index. Learning index is our boy here. Learning index is our boy here. And to get our boy, we normally take log R divided by log 2. To get our boy, we normally take log R divided by log 2. Remember, R is the learning rate percentage. R is the learning rate percentage. Learning rate percentage. So then this one here will be log of 0.9 over log 2. Log 2. It's a formula that you just have to cram, eh? Don't ask me where log 2 is coming from. Honestly speaking, I also don't know. It's a formula that I got from my teachers and I crammed like that. Because I know that here we are doing what we call applied mathematics, eh? If it's pure mathematics, then I'll be concerned to know where log 2 is coming from. Ours we are applying. So they're telling me that this one, punching the logarithms, they're getting negative 0.152. Yeah. Unfortunately, the examiner has given you that. If you look at the last note, the last additional information, the examiner gave us that figure. When the examiner gives you that figure, it means that he hates you. He doesn't want you to pass. Because you see now that calculation will not carry any mark. You see now in note number 8, the learning curve index for a 90%, learning curve is minus 0.152. He doesn't want you to earn anything there. All right. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if that is the case, then you go ahead and give us the exponent, the power. Our power is b plus 1. It is minus 0.152 plus 1, which will end up giving us 0.848. 0.848. So up to here, the very new students to this subject, are we together really? Are they been able to follow up to here, these ninjas? These ninjas, have they been able to follow? The ones who are attending today as their very, very first class online ninjas, are they able to follow abracadabra? That silence is deafening. Chances are they are not following totally. At least Bahati, at least one guy has said, Mwalimu, I'm following. So we continue reading. So as we read, ladies and gentlemen, what else have they told us here for our purposes of prediction? Note number 3. Direct labor is paid at how much here, somebody? 30,000. Direct labor is paid at 30,000 per hour. So if you're a bright student, to avoid conversions of hours to cost, labor cost later, you come and provide this A in terms of labor cost. That will be easier for you. You come and now say that A is labor cost by multiplying this with what here, somebody? With 30,000 to get the cost, labor cost in a card to produce the first unit. So are you able to give me that answer? Just convert, because now we know the rate. So 72 hours times, in this case here, 30,000. So then this one will end up giving us how much? This one here will end up giving us how much? Oh yeah, Lizzie. 2160,000, isn't it? 2160,000. Now, ladies and gentlemen, once I've been able to get this, then now I'm at home. I can run very fast and write the learning curve equation. Now I can write here the learning curve. I can write there the learning curve equation, the equation. So the equation, we have y equals ax raised to power b plus 1. Our y will be equal to a that we already have. A now is 2160,000. A is 2160,000 x raised to our exponent, which is 0.848, which is 0.848. So remember, this 2160,000 is Kenya shillings, and it is a labor cost for producing just one unit. Just one unit. Now we are very, very good, ready to predict the labor cost. Ready to predict the labor cost. Ready to predict the labor cost. So when you go to note number 4, yeah, direct material costs are expected to be this per car. This will apply, okay. There are no product-specific fixed costs. Matrix Limited is going to use a target costing, okay. So they want us to give them the value of any cost gap. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm so lucky here because I only have 2 costs. I have a labor cost and water material cost. So let's first of all estimate the total labor cost. Therefore, total labor cost, which is our y, by the way. So y will be equal to 2160,000. X is all the vehicles, and all the vehicles, you guys have told me there are 100 and what? All the vehicles are 110, isn't it? So then I should be able to predict the labor cost for making those 110 vehicles. So 2160,000 times 110 raised to 0.848. Please, everybody, let's ensure that we are great RCM students. Yeah, by knowing how to raise things. We must know how to raise in your calculator. The raising is like this, or x raised to y. We shall note RCM students are normally proactive. They don't wait for answers. They get answers themselves. Even when we are in meetings, we are not takers. We are givers. In meetings, we shall always talk. You know, there are people who are generally shy. They don't talk. In a meeting, you shall take lead. 116. 116. 293. 3. 14. Kenya shillings, isn't it? Or Kenya shillings that. So remember, this is which type of labor? Yeah. So in this case here, give us a cost statement. So cost statement. We have labor cost. Labor cost, I know it is 116, 293. 3314. Then give us material cost. Give us material cost. Give us material cost. Material cost, ladies and gentlemen, you can evidently see how much they are charging for materials, what they have told us in terms of materials, whatever they have told us in terms of materials. Note number 4, material costs are expected to be 37,50,000 per car. And we are a rich company. Our cars are 110. So 3750,000 times 110, which gives us quite a huge number. 412, 500,000. 412, 500,000, which then will end up giving us how much? So this is the estimated cost. Estimated cost. So you add the two. Because we do not have any overheads. We have only two expenses. We have labor and materials. Only two expenses. We have labor and materials. So Bahati, my friend Bahati, has, you guys give me these numbers. This one here gives us what here? 528, 793, 314. Yeah, thank you so much. Read the question again. We must be very, very clear of what is being asked of us by the examiner. So the examiner, ladies and gentlemen, told us here to get any cost gap of all the vehicles. Any cost gap. Yeah, any cost gap of all the vehicles. So to get cost gap, I would want to give you a story here. Remember, we have what we call Kaizen costing. Yeah, being used by the Toyota Japan. You know, Toyota Japan is one of those wealthiest companies globally, and they believe in savings a lot. For example, they don't believe in storage of raw materials. They don't have stores. Those guys in this case here, they work on what we call the JIT or JIT system. They procure raw materials just in time. So if it's they procure raw materials for immediate usage, to be used immediately. All right? Because they want to have zero inventory costs. They don't want, in this case, to have any investments in stocks. So if it is raw materials, they'll ensure they don't have stores for raw materials. They don't have stores for finished goods. They'll always produce cars as per orders. So they are doing 500 cars belonging to Kenya. Once they are finished as a batch, they are shipped immediately. Yeah. And among those models of Kaizen costing that they keep on discussing a lot is what we call target costing. So by the time they are producing a vehicle, even one vehicle here, they know that we are producing fine, but we target this vehicle will cost us like 1 million Kenya shillings. That is their target, because they know what their selling price will be. They know in advance how much they should be able to earn profits, in form of profits. Not like Kenya here. In Kenya here, ladies and gentlemen, all of us, including ourselves here at RCM, I mean, we are running our business blindly. There is nothing, I mean, we are targeting here to be able to know like how much profit will you make? No, we're just doing all our businesses in a very blind way. Otherwise, it will be very important for you to have this target. How much will it cost us to train one student? And then how much are we estimating in this case here to train this student cost us? So anytime they talk about cost gap, always remember that cost gap equals estimated cost. Estimated cost minus any cost you're targeting, minus target cost. So already you have, ladies and gentlemen, you already have what here? An estimated cost. So what we would want to get is a target cost. How do we get target cost? Assuming today we would want to enter into a business of making pens of this nature. So as RCM, then what we shall do is to get to our competitors outside here. Competitors to be. So this guy is selling this pen at 10 bob, another one at this. So we get an average price. So once we get this average price, to get this target cost, you normally take the market price and then you subtract, in this case here, any target margins, any target profit margin. Profit margin. This is how we get our target cost. You take market price, from your benchmarking, market price minus target profit margin. Target profit margin. Now, ladies and gentlemen, please listen and listen to me very well. Let's try getting this target cost stuff. Look at note number 6. Note number 6, we are told Matrix Motors Limited is going to use a target costing approach for the new model. Based on market research it has undertaken, Matrix Motors Limited plans to sell each car for how much? From research. So that is the selling price, the market price. And then we are told here that the Matrix Motors Limited requires a target profit margin of 25%. Of 25%. So we know the market vehicle that we have been able to ascertain because of benchmarking. So this is 6.4 million. And then, of course, we are targeting 25% of this selling price. So if we do it that way, we shall be able to, ladies and gentlemen, get our target cost. Anybody who is able to give us this target cost? It's coming to 4.8 million, isn't it? So this is 4.8 million. 4.8 million. And remember, this is per car. Each car. And in the question, they are very, very clear that they want us to give them a cost gap for 110 cars. They want us to give them a cost gap for 110 cars. All right. So give me the total target cost. Total target cost for 110 cars. A huge figure. 4.8 million times 110. So is there somebody who is able to give us this number? So according to Mary Wanyaga, 528 million. 528 million. 528 million. 528 million. So then come here and substitute. To get, in this case here, cost gap, substitute here. Substitute up here. Come and substitute up here, ladies and gentlemen. We have, in this case here, our cost gap is our estimated. From our engineering, we've been able to estimate the labor. We've been able to estimate the materials. So the estimated cost, ladies and gentlemen, will be 528, 793, 314 minus the target cost, which is 528,000. So then this one here will end up giving us 793, 314 Kenya shillings. So this is the cost gap for the 110 cars. Cost gap for the 110 cars. If they want cost gap per car, it's very easy. That if they want cost gap per car, cost gap per car, we know that this 793, 314 is for 110 cars. So then how about cost gap per car? Just divide cost gap per car. The online ninjas are not getting any number. 7211.95, isn't it? 7211.95. So remember now, even as Mzungu, once he has been able to see that he's going to exceed his target cost. You know, this is in excess of that target cost. So once he has known he's going to exceed that, that is really very, very bad. That cost gap has to be closed. Mzungu cannot agree to have a cost gap. The cost gap has to be closed. So can you kindly give me some of the ways that this Mzungu will use to close the cost gap? Africa, of course, will not care so much because we are more than 1,000 years behind. But of course, there are organizations in Africa which are almost there. Try all ways possible to reduce labor cost. So you look at the labor cost. How do we reduce this labor cost? Yeah, for example, automation of processes. You could consider outsourcing labor because at the end of it would look expensive in the short run, but in the long term, given productivity, now that we'll be having external people who will be supervising these employees, it will be cheaper. Yeah, so labor. For materials, normally what you do is to consider alternative suppliers. You consider alternative suppliers. You can also consider taking a lower quality type of materials. You can consider taking, in this case here, a lower type, quality, a lower quality type of materials. Yeah, like I remember my old man used to have that Peugeot 504 many days ago, many years ago. It used to be a real vehicle, real metal. If that machine was to knock you down during those old days, it would have killed you. As time progresses by, what kind of vehicles are we getting? They are very light, isn't it? They're no longer using, in this case, here, that hard stuff. Yeah, like these employees, of course, also, ladies and gentlemen, in this case here, you can, train them. With training, productivity will go up. With the training, they'll be able to use materials efficiently. Yeah, then Liz is saying that you can also consider risk management in the form of what here, material prices by fixing a certain price. Thank you so much. Have we done justice to that question? Have we finished that question? Have we done justice to the question? Can we go to a different one? Can we go to a different question? Yeah, so we go to April 2023, question number 5C. April 2023, April 2023, question number 5, cow. April 2023, question number 5, cow. Once you get that question, please say yes. Why for yes? Why for yes? Why for yes? Why for yes? Marceline, have you finished writing? Marceline, I'm waiting for your response. Great. Yeah. Thank you so much. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to April 2023, question number 5C. April 2023, question number 5, cow. Question number 5, cow. You know, this topic, whether you like it or not, it has to be tested. It has to be in your exams. It must be tested. It must be tested. So we're looking at April 2023, question number 5C. Where has this gone to? What is the name of that question? Is it sofa set? Sofa set, yes. Huh? 5, okay. Or it's 5B, yeah? It's question number 5B. Thanks for that. It's question number 5B, yeah. Sofa Limited. That's why I wasn't getting it. So Sofa Set Limited must be making very good sofa sets. Yeah. Makes and sells executive leather chairs. The production manager is considering a new design of sofa set chair to launch into the competitive market in which they operate. Additional information, the production manager has carried out investigation in the market, and using target costing system, he has targeted a competitive selling price of 120,000 for the chair. So far, it targets a profit margin on selling price of what here? 20%. So using that information, I can see some low-hanging mark. I can see some low-hanging mark. So that low-hanging mark will be a mark for calculating target cost. Target cost. So please get ahead of yourself and give us the target cost. Give us the target cost. Give us the target cost. So target cost is market price minus profit margin. Minus profit margin. So the market price that has been given, ladies and gentlemen, here in this question, in this very question, how much have they given us as their anticipated selling price? Yeah, you can see each share is 120,000 for the chair, and 20% is the margin. So then the target will be 120,000 price minus 20% of the same price. So are you able to give me this answer? 96,000. 96,000. Thank you so much. Right. Correct. Now, ladies and gentlemen, after we do that, we shall be able to straight away go to the next part. The next part, they're telling us that the design frame will be bought for 51,000 per chair, and the Sofa Set Limited will beautify it in leather and assemble it ready for dispatch. I love this. They're bringing some design frame, yeah, metallic, maybe goldish, yeah. And then now they again seal it, of course, not all parts of that frame, with some comfortable chair leather. Yeah. Leather costs shillings 10,000 per meter, and 2 meters are needed for a complete chair, although 20% of all the leather is wasted in the beautification process. 5. The beautification and assembly process will be subjected to a learning effect as the workers get used to the new design. Sofa Set Limited estimates that the first chair will take 2 hours to prepare, but this will be subject to a learning curve of 95%. The learning improvement will stop once 128 chairs have been made, and the time for the 128th chair will be the time for all the subsequent chairs. The production manager believes that the target cost will be achieved from 128 chairs. The cost of labor is 15,000 per direct labor hour. The learning curve index is that. So here I know that learning curve is only applicable in terms of estimating labor cost. Labor cost. So they want us to give them the average cost for the first 128 chair and made and identify any cost gap that may be present at that stage. So they want us to give them the average cost. Not a problem. I will first of all estimate the labor cost. Let me estimate the labor cost. Not a problem at all. I hope I'll be able to remember this 96,000. So this is not a problem at all. So ladies and gentlemen, we have in this case here, in this case, what we have here, in this case, we have our labor cost for 128 chairs. For 128 chairs. And then, of course, we shall average by dividing. There are 2 ways, but the better way is to do it this way. So remember, we have our y, which equals ax raised to b plus 1. That is our y. So first of all, we start with A. A is the time taken. Time taken to make the very first chair. Have they told us what this time taken to produce our first chair is? Have they told us? Have they told us? So Mary tells us it is 2 hours. But you see down there, they are gracious enough by giving us the cost per hour. They are gracious enough by giving us the cost per hour. The labor cost per hour, are you able to see it? How much? 15,000, 15,000. So then our A, we are very comfortable to have our A as Kenya shillings 30,000, which is the costing card for producing the very first unit. Thank you, Rina. Thank you so much. And again, this examiner wasn't very gracious here, but He has given us B. I don't have to calculate it because even if I try calculating it, it will not be able to give us any mark. So are you able to see, ladies and gentlemen, the index, learning index, which has been given there? And by the way, if you try to calculate yours and it becomes different from what has been given by the examiner, we shall always use what is given by the examiner. Always. Because I've seen situations where the examiner tells you that R is 70%. Yeah. When you calculate your R using 70%, you get blah, blah. A different figure from the B he has given you. If you use your B, which is different from the examiner's B, it means automatically you want to compete with the examiner. And you know, of course, if you're competing with the examiner, who is going to be the loser? So this gives us minus 0.074. So give us B plus 1. So it will be minus 0.074 plus 1, which will end up giving us, according to 𝐼𝐸, 0.926. So 0.926, 0.926. Yeah. Then come and give us our equation. So our equation, ladies and gentlemen, we have here y equals, yeah, A, which is 30,000, yeah, into X, 128, raised to B plus 1, which is 0.926, like that. So 30,000 times 128 raised to, ensure you are raising, ensure you are raising, ensure you are raising, ensure you are raising. How I wish I would get all the answers from all the 54 students who are online, plus my physical students here. Bahati has given me a figure of 81, 622.78, like that. Now from there, give us a cost statement. Give us a cost statement. So from there, go ahead and give us a cost statement. So you can start with labor cost. So labor cost, 26, 81, 622.78. Material cost. So is there somebody who is able to see the material cost? Anybody who is able to see the material cost? So material cost, we are told here, we have the design frame. There are two types of materials. We have the first one there is the frame. So the first one here is the frame. And the frame, what have they told us about the frame? That the design frame will be bought for 51,000 per chair, and the sofa set limited will beautify it in leather and assemble it ready for dispatch. So it means, ladies and gentlemen, each chair that we produce will need its own frame. So it will be 51,000 times 128. So are you able to give me this figure? 51,000 times 128, 65, 28,000. It doesn't stop there. It doesn't stop there because apart from frame, this frame, it cannot work alone. We need leather. We need leather. So leather, what have they told us about leather? What they've told us about leather is that number 4, leather costs shillings 10,000 per meter, and 2 meters are needed for a complete chair, although 20% of all leather is wasted in the beautification process. So in terms of leather, I'm seeing something very interesting. That each seat needs how many meters of leather? 2. And each meter goes for how much? 10,000, 10,000. So this is 20,000 each chair. And you're producing how many chairs here, somebody? But remember, there is wastage. There is wastage. So whenever there is wastage, it means that I must procure more. I must buy more. So in this case, it means that whatever you have here is net. Whatever you have here is net. So I want to procure more. The wastage is 20%. So how do I calculate the gross? Do I take this times 120%? Or do I take this and divide by 80%? Because I want, this is net because this is what is going to the customers. We are not going to negotiate. This is net. So how do I get the gross? Do I take this, multiply by 120%, or do I divide by 80? We divide by 80, isn't it? We divide by 80%. Divide by 80%. Yeah, divide by 80%. Because you see, this is net, which will be equal to net percentage. Net, which will be equal to, so whatever figure here you have is at 80%. What about gross of 100%? So the moment I appreciate that this is net, then everything becomes very easy. Yeah. So 2 times 10,000 times 128 divided by 0.8. Divided by 0.8. What do we have there, ladies and gentlemen? I'm really waiting to hear from you, ninjas. I'm really waiting to hear from you, ninjas. So we have here labor cost. So we have here labor cost. So labor cost is 26,81,622.78. We have material, the frame. So frame is 51,000 times 128, which gave me 28,000. 28,000. And then we have leather. Leather, ladies and gentlemen, it will be 2 times 10,000 times 128 divided by 0.8, which gives us how much? Yeah, why we divide by 0.8? Fine, I'll be able to repeat. So how much are we getting here, somebody? 3.2 million. 3.2 million. Now, remember, let me ask you a question as I explain Millie. You see, each chair needs a net of 2 meters. Each chair needs a net of 2 meters, each chair. So remember this leather you're bringing from outside there, these guys, when they're fixing these chairs, they'll have to cut here and there. So you can't buy exactly 2 meters and then you expect to cover the whole seat. It can't work. We must buy. Now, how do we get to know this extra to buy? It's very, very easy. If this 2 is net, I would say it is exactly equal to what here, somebody? How about 100%? Yeah. So it will be 2 times 100, yeah, divided by 80%. Hebu nisaidie kwanza itakuja ngapi? So in terms of, itakuja 2.5. Itakuja 2.5 meters. Itakuja 2.5 meters. So this is the gross quantity to buy. Gross. Now please listen. I would want you to listen to me very, very carefully. If you buy gross of 2.5 meters, we expect a loss. We expect a loss. A loss of what percentage? 20%. So if you take 20% of your 2.5, what are we getting, somebody here? 20%, please msichoke na mimi, sema 2.2 times 2.5 to answer Millie. Yeah, Millie, you are getting 0.5. So it means if you subtract 0.5 from this, you will get net of what here, somebody? You'll get exact net of 2. The one the examiner wanted you to take to each share. Yeah. But what I've seen some students doing, which is really wrong. What I've seen some students doing, which is really, really wrong. You see here, they have told us that we have 2 meters and there is a 20% loss. Yeah, is wasted. 20% loss is wasted. So what I've seen some students doing, they'll tell me that the gross will be equal to the 2 net times 120%, times 120. So they increase that loss. So could you kindly give me this? This 2 times 1.2, because 120% from that 20%. So this gives me 2. What here, somebody? 2.4. Yeah. So if you take this as your gross 2.4, and then you come and say less loss. Yeah, loss of 20%. So 20% of 2.4, can somebody give me that figure? 0.48. 0.48. So when you subtract, what will be your net? When you subtract, it will be 1 point something, right? 1.9. Unaona hapa sasa mili kiti yako haitatosha. Hiyo material itatosha net yako. Whenever you are told, for example, that there is wastage in a system, if there is wastage in a system of say 10%, then the best thing whenever you're calculating gross you should do, you should take whatever net you have, you divide by 0.9, because 10% will be wasted. Like in this case here, 20% will be wasted to get the gross to be bought. In terms of now our costing, I will take whatever is needed, I divide by the net of loss down there. I divide by 80%. So now, Millie, does that make sense? Does it make sense now? Great. You shall never forget that. Whenever you are given a loss, in whichever ways, we shall always take that net of loss down there. All right. So do we have any overheads in this question? Do we have any overheads in this question? No overheads, isn't it? So, and if there is no overhead, remember the examiner wanted average. So please come here and add up everything. Please come here and add up everything. Come here and add up everything. So give us the total cost. Now for the 128 shares, give us the total cost for the 128 shares. You're taking labor plus the materials, labor plus the materials, labor plus the materials, everything there. According to my online ninjas, somebody is saying, nope. $12,409, eh? 12,409, 12,409, 620.78, isn't it? Yeah. Remember the examiner wanted average cost, which is cost per unit, So you divide this by 100 what year? You divide this by 128. You divide this by 128. So Eric is giving me a figure of 96. 98, who is now telling me the truth? Who is telling me the truth? Whose story should I trust? 96, 950. 96, 950. So this is now 96, 950. This is now your estimated cost per share, isn't it? So then can you kindly go ahead and compute for me the cost gap? Go ahead and compute for me the cost gap. Go ahead and compute for me the cost gap. Go ahead and compute for me the cost gap. Go ahead and compute for me the cost gap. So cost gap is not a hard thing to calculate. To get cost gap, you will take in this case here the estimated cost minus your target cost. Estimated cost minus your target cost. The estimated cost is 96,950 minus our target cost, which is what here? 96,000. 96,000. Yeah. Which in this case here gives you 900 what here? 950. Yeah, so that is the cost gap. Cost gap is what you have to fight with to ensure that you fit within the budget. So you must work always to ensure that you reduce that 950. Yeah, we have in this case here this other approach where we talk of average y bar equals ax raised to power b, but I chose never to be using this approach. I always use the total approach, and whenever I want to average, I divide. The total approach may look longer, but it's easily understood. And remember, in advanced management accounting, I'm not really pressurizing you to, like, write very fast. But you need to, it's not like FR or advanced FR, no. Here, there is no time you will be fighting with. Yeah, because actually in advanced MA, most of the time, even when you're invigilating, most of the students, when they work very hard, they only spend like 2 hours writing. And then they finish everything that they know. And then they start, in this case, here staring at the ceiling board. All right. So how do we get, in this case here, the target cost? Here, the target cost, there is a formula. target cost. You do your survey outside there. How much will I be selling this good at? So you are able to establish the market price minus any profit margin. Minus any profit margin. So in this case here, market price. Yeah, thanks, Eric. At least Eric has swung in. So in this question here, you can see the market price. It was given here. Production manager has carried out an investigation in the market and using target costing system, he has targeted a competitive selling price of 120,000 per share. So you can see the market competitive price is 120,000. Yeah, minus the market or the profit margin. And the profit margin has been given here, 20%. 20%. The profit margin has been given there, 20% of the price. So 20% of this 120,000. That's how we got it there. I hope, Maggie, that is helpful. Great. Thank you so much. So then we go to part B of this question. We go to part B of this question. So part B of this question, they want us to give them the cost of the 128th share made and state where the target cost is being achieved on the 128th share. So they want us to give them the cost of the 128th share. 128th share. Very easy, 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 easy. Nothing there. So cost of 128th share. Cost of 128th share. So they want us, first of all, we estimate the labor, of course. Labor. Yeah. So labor. So this is Y 128th. So is there somebody who is able to remember how we expand this? Anybody who is able to remember how we expand this? Y 128th? Y first? So how do we expand this? We shall write Y first. Wamesahau. Minus Y first. Because you see, you want to be left with a 128th alone. Thank you, Caroline. Want to be left with 128th share, the 128th. So what I do, I will talk of Y first 128. I count all of them from 1 up to 128th. And then I say minus Y first 127. 127. 127. So do you still remember we're going to use the same equation we had up there. It was 30,000, right? 30,000 x raised to 0.926 like that. So remember that this 30,000 is applicable to each one of these. The 30,000 will always be written in outside brackets. The 30,000, yeah, the 30,000 is common to both. So we write it outside. So it will be 128 raised to 0.926 minus 127 raised to 0.926. Remember, 30,000 is going to be written outside. So you say 30,000 times, open brackets. 30,000 times, you open brackets. You say this raised to that, minus this raised to that. You give me a figure. I'm getting a very good compliment here. I don't know whether it's a compliment or if you taught us this subject last semester, we wouldn't have failed. No. We should think about December now. December shall pass all of us. That is the most important thing. 19,405.9, isn't it? Yeah. 19,405.49. Thank you so much. Yeah. So we have taken care of the labor cost. Remember, we are only doing costing for one chair. So give us their title, cost statement. Give us a title there, cost statement. Give us a title there, cost statement. Give us a title there, cost statement. So the cost statement, we can start with the labor cost because already we have it. Labor cost, it's 194.05.49. Yeah, do we have any other cost components? Oh, yes, we have the frame, the luxurious frame. So the frame for the 128th chair, the frame will cost us how much? Remember frame, materials, there is no saving, isn't it? Materials, there is no saving. So frame, ladies and gentlemen, this will be, is it 51,000? Yeah, 51,000. And then we have the leather. We have the leather. So leather, I know what I will do. To get the leather cost, I know that each chair is 2 meters. And I know that each meter is 10,000, isn't it? Yeah. Remember, we are dealing with how many chairs here? Only one, which is chair number 128. Only one. Maybe for your revision, you can simply say here times 1. But remember, there is a material wastage. Milli G, when there is a material wastage of 20%, what shall we do? We divide by 80% or 0.8. We divide by 80% or 0.8. Divided by 80. Thank you so much, Eric. So divide this by 0.8. We divide this by 0.8. So then can you kindly go ahead and give me this leather cost? Leather cost. 70? 9,500. They're not 25,000. Is that okay? 25,000. All right. 25,000. Thank you so much. So that is it. Yeah, or 10,000 times 2.5 meter. Yeah, that's still good enough. Yeah. So then go ahead and give us the total cost. Total estimated cost. Add the 3 because we don't have any overheads here. Add the 3 because we do not have any overheads. So this gives me 95,405, isn't it? 95,405, like that. Now, ladies and gentlemen, remember that this will be your estimated cost. Estimated cost. And at the end of the day, they wanted cost gap. They want a cost gap. So cost gap, in this case here, we know the formula. It is estimated cost minus who? Somebody here? Target cost. Estimated cost minus target cost. Estimated cost is 95,405. And our target cost, ladies and gentlemen, was how much? They have forgotten. 96,000, isn't it? Our target cost was 96. This is really, really very good. Because you see, target cost is the maximum budget. Yeah. If I spend less, I'm okay. If I spend less, I'm okay. So then this at the end of the day gives us what figure? Yes. Now they're not talking to me. Negative 594. Thank you very much. 0.41. This is very good because these are, whenever they're negative, they are savings. Shall save. Whenever they're negative like that, those are savings. Those are savings. Yeah, they're savings. And therefore, we don't have any cost gap. Where you have savings, no cost gap. You say no cost gap. So the cost gap has been closed. Yeah. So is that okay? Great. So then I'll give you one question that I would expect you now to do it like so seriously. My honor limited, yeah. My honor limited. That is December 2022. December 2022. December 2022. Question number 3B. 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 Question number 3, boy. December 2022, question number 3, boy. Maono Limited. Maono Limited. So that question was really a very easy question. What most students forgot in that question is to take the number of batches and then they multiply them with the number of months, which are 6. So many students in this case here, they did that question and they were offside. Yeah. So you do a question from the beginning, predicting, you think you're going to pass. When results are coming out, you get a fail. You get a fail. So that one I would want to leave it with you. You try it and then I'll be able to start with it tomorrow. Remember, tomorrow we have a lesson. What time? 6 p.m. Is it 6 p.m. tomorrow? 6 p.m. Yes. Otherwise, ladies and gentlemen, I will be able to go to our third topic. We go to third topic now. Topic number 3. So topic number 3 is all about cost volume profit analysis and decision making. So like last semester, they gave us a very easy question from this area on decision making. But I know students had gotten used to situations where a payoff matrix was being given to them. Yeah, like some simple questions from our past papers where they give us a payoff matrix. And then you are told, yeah, remember we have a handout, Edmond. I'll be able to share. There is a handout I have for this. There's a handout I have for this, for topic 1, 2. I'll be able to share that with you. Right. So then under cost volume profit analysis and decision making, what are we supposed to check out? Now remember, this is CVP. So CVP is profit planning. Profit planning. We must be very good in terms of planning for our profits. So under CVP, you must be extremely good with the CVP chart. The CVP chart. Yeah. The multiple CVP chart. If you don't know that, chance of the examiner twisting you upside down is really, really high. All right. And then now straight away, we go to decision making. Decision making. So decision making, your examiner wants you to know how to do a payoff table, and how to solve, how to make decisions under the various environments. Which environments are these? Risk and uncertainty. And of course, when you're making decisions, then you must be able to know how to draw a decision tree. When you are doing profit planning here, you must be very good at what we call what, if you remember the mathematics of bottlenecks. Bottlenecks. Yeah, key limiting factor. Throughput analysis. And straight away, now we introduce the topic. So introduction of the topic, the special revision way. If you remember, ladies and gentlemen, how do we do our profit planning? How do we do our profit planning? We must remember the equation. We know that profit equals total contribution minus what here, somebody? Fixed costs. Of course, we are used to the formula of a profit equals revenue minus cost. But in advanced management accounting, this is the formula that I will always sell to you. Pi stands for profit. Pi stands for profit. So this profit, which is my pi, will always be obtained by us taking contribution per unit, contribution margin, times number of units, minus the firm's fixed cost. So this CM stands for contribution margin. This stands for contribution margin. X stands for quantity sold. F stands for fixed costs. F stands for fixed costs. So this is really the bedrock of CVP, cost volume, and profits here. So anytime we talk of volume, we're looking at quantity. Costs, we have variable costs, fixed costs, and profit analysis. Very, very, very important. So this CM contribution margin, how do we get it? Do you know how we normally compute contribution margin? Somebody who could be knowing the formula of getting contribution margin? Selling price minus variable costs. Anytime they want us to give them contribution margin, we normally take price minus variable cost like that. So remember, P is selling price, per unit. We have V, which is variable cost. Again, per unit, like that, per unit. Yeah, very good, very good. So then I would want you guys to do me a favor. Could you kindly make X the subject of the formula from this equation? From this equation, could you kindly make X the subject of the formula? Yeah, from this equation, please make X the subject of the formula. So remember, we have our profit equals CMX minus F. So I want us to make X the subject. I want us to make X the subject. So make X the subject of the formula. Yeah, great. So take this to the other side. On their side, it will be positive, which is fixed cost plus what here, somebody? Profit equals CMX. And therefore, X will be equal to fixed cost plus profit. You divide both sides by what here? By CM. By CM. Yeah, so in this case here, quantity to sell. When you're planning for our profits, we must be able to know the quantity to sell. The quantity we sell should be able to cover all our fixed costs and what here? Profits here. So fixed cost recovery, very, very important. Yeah, then ladies and gentlemen, remember what we call break-even point. Remember what we call break-even point. Break-even point. At break-even, profit equals who? 0. At break-even, profit equals 0. At break-even, profit equals 0. Profit equals 0. At break-even, profit equals 0. And therefore, X break-even will be fixed cost over what here? Because you see, at break-even, profit is not there. At break-even, profit is 0. So, and therefore, X break-even will be fixed cost over what here, somebody? Over contribution margin. This is one of those formulas that I came to sell to you here today. But now remember, in advanced management accounting, they'll give you what we call multiple products. We call this multiple products. Multiple products. So many products. So when there are many, there is no problem. If there are many, simply to get X break even, we'll talk of fixed costs over WACM. Fixed cost over WACM. Anytime they talk about many products, that is what we shall be doing, ladies and gentlemen, in situations where we have many products. We talk over X break even being equal to fixed costs over WACM. And this WACM, ladies and gentlemen, stands for weighted average contribution margin. Weighted average contribution margin. Weighted average contribution margin. Weighted average contribution margin. And how do we get it? To get this WACM, we normally take weight of the first product multiplied by contribution margin of the first product, plus weight of the second product, contribution margin of the second product, etc., etc., etc. Ladies and gentlemen, I happen to be having a meeting somewhere at 1:30. I beg to excuse myself. When I come tomorrow, I'll be able to finish this concept of CVP. So tomorrow at 6 p.m., if you physical guys will be available, I'll be teaching from here. Yeah, but again, we can also send you the link. You join from home. Great. So otherwise, thank you so much. I hope you have enjoyed the session. Bye.